All right, Alex, get this. You know, we've been talking about the economy for a while, and it's still sort of in a slump. And according now to researchers at the University of Kansas, in a study being published this month, they say when threatened with things that maybe make men feel like survival is a problem, like a bad economy, men are actually hardwired, this is in their DNA, to seek what they call short-term mating strategies, basically, to cheat. So we had to talk about this because this is apparently in the DNA, even if a man's in a monogamous relationship. Michelle Rappaport is a certified sex addiction therapist with Experiential Healing Center. Michelle, really? What was your reaction to this?
It made me laugh when I first heard and read the article. You know, we are also DNA wired to pee and poop anywhere we want to. But the hope is unlike animals and, you know, survival instincts and DNA, that as human beings, we're set apart from that and can be more choiceful and deliberate and intentional about where we do things and how we do things. And, you know, we're DNA wired to murder and kill, too. But, you know, hopefully we can be more thoughtful about those things.
You're way too young, of course, to remember the 70s. But wasn't it in the 70s when it was like, if it feels good, do it, let it all hang out?
Absolutely. Seek pleasure, seek pleasure, seek pleasure. And again, there is nothing wrong with, you know, kind of following instinct, so to speak.
Right.
But the hope is that the instinct and the thoughtfulness, you know, those higher brain functionings that do set us apart from the animals,
right,
that those two pieces can come together.
So you don't disagree that it might be hardwired into a man's DNA
Absolutely.
to spread the seed
Absolutely.
as far and all that stuff,
yeah,
and survival of the fittest, but that is not an excuse and that is not a reason. Would men, if they're more tempted, what can they do, and how would they know they're more tempted? Because don't men already think about sex like every 14 seconds anyway?
I actually don't know what the statistics are these days, but and I also think that there's, you know, men can kind of get the bad rap that sometimes there's a lot of information thrown at them that that's okay and that's just part of who they are.
Okay.
When the reality is that there is a humanness about being in survival mode, and the hope is that particularly in a bad economy, we're not just living survivalist kind of stuff, that we're really trying to be in a more, you know, evolved way of thinking about things and living, not just surviving. So it could be the excuse if people are looking for an excuse.
Right.
But it also, just because you're a man doesn't mean you can't be evolved as a man and make good decisions and make good choices. And just because your gender doesn't, you know, it doesn't, you know, make you
doesn't mean
not
you can't control yourself.
Exactly.
So, in fact, it sounds like what you're saying, that in a bad economy, a more highly evolved man, or a man who chooses to be that way, would actually maybe be closer to a family. They would want a stable environment. They would want to kind of close the ranks around the home.
That living could be a higher way of surviving, which is that I really look to lean into my partner and lean into my home rather than just going by basic animal instinct.
What a relief.
Yeah.
So if you are in a troubled relationship and this is going on and the man wants to try to pull that, I didn't mean to, but I just felt that the woman should do what?
Right. Well, I think that's, no matter what the behavior is that's survival driven, I think that's part of what an ongoing, whether it be therapy or counseling or, you know, a church group or a men's group or things like that, is to seek out some help in trying to, again, have those places talk to each other in their brain, the survivor and the more higher functioning human being.
Do you think couples, even couples in a healthy, good relationship, really solid, need a tune-up with an objective third party anyway? Or
Absolutely.
We don't do that,
Absolutely.
do we?
I think a good therapist is like a good lawyer or a good accountant or a good pastor, and I think that we take better care of our cars than we do our coupleships. So I do think that.
I know that's true.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Michelle. Wow. Something to think about.